So I have the pleasure to be with Patrick McKeown, who I've known for 10 years. 10 years must be. Yeah, Patrick, one of the good guys, I promise you. And Patrick is a trainer. He trains people to become Buteyko practitioners. And I think you're one of the leading lights, if not the leading light, I think, in the Buteyko world.
Yeah, I think it's a method that, since its evolution from Russia to the Western world, I've been involved with it since 2002, and we've really seen an increase in awareness and an increase in awareness in nose breathing, and I've been happy to be part of that. On a number of fronts in terms of books, DVD sets.
Patrick, you've done well. You have. You've done. And you've stuck to it. You've had to live a modest lifestyle for a prolonged period of time, as I have done.
Sure, for sure.
In order to get this message out.
Well, Mike, that's what it's about. When you're an innovator and you're coming out with something new, and when it's different to what mainstream is doing, and the thing about Buteyko which drove me was, I knew about the benefits of nose breathing. I knew about the benefits for sleep, for asthma, for concentration, for anxiety, and of course with your work, the emphasis on nose breathing for normal craniofacial growth, or as you say, reaching your full
genetic potential. Yeah.
But this is new information for a lot of people, because this information, despite us knowing so much about it, it's still not mainstream.
No, it does mesh very well, because there's no way I can get someone to change their aura, their tongue posture. They're not going to put the tongue on the roof of the mouth if they've got a blocked nose. They can't breathe out their nose. Yes. So it makes sense what you say. To me, it makes very logical sense what you say.
Mm-hmm. And nasal obstruction is the biggest cause of mouth breathing, and usually, with the vast majority of cases, you can decongest the nose by simply holding the breath. This was talked about since 1923. Breath holding in man and an animal can help to reduce nasal resistance. You can open up your nose by simply taking a normal breath into your nose, a normal breath out your nose, pinch your nose, hold your breath, gently nod your head up and down, hold your breath until you feel a medium to strong air hunger, then let go. Breathe in through your nose, calm your breathing, wait a minute, do it again. Do it 5 or 6 times. Leave a minute's rest in between each, and you'll find your nose will open up.
Do it once. Do it once.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can notice if I start getting a blocked nose, I do exactly what Patrick said, and it instantly clears every time. I hate it, Patrick. I hate doing it. I do.
It's not so bad to do.
I do. I'm an ex-asthmatic.
Sure.
For me to cut off my airway, I hate it. I literally.
That is the thing about asthma.
I've even sworn your name before when I'm lying in bed, particularly at the beginning of the summer, when the hay fever starts coming in.
But even with hay fever, it will still have to decongest the nose.
Yeah, totally. I hate that last little bit when you've got hay fever.
Yes.
You can notice it's on you. You can feel it in your sinuses. And I know I'm going to go to bed in 5 minutes. And as I lie down into the bed, all of a sudden, woof, my nose passage is going to block up.
Well, here it is, like allergic rhinitis. If you have hay fever, or if you have perennial rhinitis, that your nose is a bit stuffy every day for about an hour or so, your sleep disorder breathing increases twofold. A person with allergic rhinitis, they're 1.8 times more likely to have sleep problems. If you have rhinitis, if you have asthma, you tend to be tired. It's not just the upper airways that's affected. It's not just the lower airways. It's also your sleep.
Yeah, I've got a very good idea on this one, Patrick.
Okay.
Well, it would take too much explanation just for the moment now, but I think that because the anatomy of the back of the throat is so fundamentally different in people now, different muscles groups are having to work. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're now engaging neural pathways that would have been conscious previously to maintain sections of the state of muscular effort or muscular balance when we go to sleep.
Yes.
And of course that's keeping people awake. And is preventing them from completely switching off. The anatomy in the back of the throat here has changed just that little bit, and because that anatomy has changed that bit, different elements on the tongue
Yeah.
and now having to maintain an open airway at night.
Sure.
So that what it does is it just feeds into your consciousness. You can't ever totally switch off because you're doing what, you can't change some of the basic wiring of, I think you probably can, but there's a limit. I think there's a limit to how much basic changing of what would have been a subconscious thought and what would have been a conscious thought. And I think that has a little role to play in obstructive sleep apnea, and or rather the psychological effects of obstructive sleep apnea. Look at a couple of things with OSA, obstructive sleep apnea. People over 40 years of age are 6 times more likely to breathe through an open mouth. If you have your mouth open, as you well know, Mike, you can't have your tongue resting in the roof of the mouth. If your tongue isn't resting in the roof of the mouth, where's your tongue going to go back into? Your
throat.
Yeah, but then
so
it
if your
affects
tongue
your
is
facial
going back
form
into the airway, well, then you're more likely to stop breathing. And another is simply positional sleep apnea. 50% of all people with obstructive sleep apnea, if you get them to switch from their backs to their sides, 50% of people with sleep apnea, you will have their sleep apnea just by getting them to switch off their back.
My father wrote a letter into the British Dental Journal some time ago when sleep apnea started becoming this big issue.
Yes.
And he said, we must not forget the simple methods, such as sewing half a tennis ball into the back of a tight-fitting shirt and wearing it to bed at night.
Yes.
And the effect that it has on sleep apnea.
Yes,
we get so lost in doctor help me, doctor provide me. And how much does that cost? That must be good. Half a tennis ball. I think you probably get one of those for free.
You could even use a rucksack. You know the little backpacks that people wear?
Yep.
Put a football into it.
You
wear a backpack with a football, you're not going to roll over.
Yeah, you're certainly not going to roll over. Maybe I'll try that with the kids. They're not going to fall out of bed.
So, I think, and the other thing is, we're talking about nasal breathing. The one thing about using your nose is the more you use it, the more it works for you. The problem is, as soon as the nose is stuffy, you switch to mouth breathing. But once you switch to mouth breathing, that's it. It is nasal breathing. You've got to use the system. I think it's a simple use it or lose it system. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to do a couple of videos, and it would be nice to explore a few things with you, Patrick. Good to have you over as ever. Yeah.